Episode 34 of this podcast. We might have some technical difficulties. We might lose Russ for a minute. He'll be back. Just give him a second. So
there's no way this is going smoothly.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can, working remotely, all of us, due to unforeseen circumstances. First orders of business, go check out the website, 3starrecruits.com. We're also on Apple and Spotify as a normal podcast, as well as YouTube. So yeah, how's things going, boys?
I got to run something by you guys here. So Saturday, I texted you guys earlier. Saturday, we ordered food to go from a restaurant chain. And so I go down there, and first of all, it took 10 minutes for somebody to come out to my car to bring me my food. Second of all, whenever I do this, I never know how much do I tip.
If you're picking up?
If I'm just picking it up, they're bringing it to my car.
And it depends on the chain, because some places just grab a bag, and some places like put stuff together.
Yeah, so that's why and it made it really awkward this time because they brought the thing out for me to. This chain was not prepared for to-go orders, I don't think, and I don't know how they're not prepared for it. So I brought out the machine to swipe my card in, and I tried to put a tip in, it didn't work. So she's like, "All right, the machine's not working. I'll just run inside." I was like, "All right, well, I was gonna put a $5 tip on it," and she's like, "Okay." And then I'm like, I don't know, if that was even the right amount. And then by the time I got home, I was like, I should have given $1 because we were missing an appetizer. Instead of kids' chicken fingers for my kids, they gave them peppered chicken fingers.
A little light.
And it was like, dude, this isn't good. So how much you guys, if you do, I don't know if any of you guys really go to-go orders a lot, but how much
they
you guys
said
tip?
No, but I have an answer. I think it uses some logic. Did you order a dessert?
Well, my wife and I got a combo.
That's a yes or no question. I don't know why you're having.
Yeah, we did because we got a combo. Normally,
who usually puts desserts together in restaurant service? The waiter. So if a waiter brought you food, she probably had to do some work. She deserves a tip. She's making nothing an hour. You might as well give her a couple bucks.
So I always tip, but I feel like I did more of this. I tipped more this time, but then I got home and I was like, I shouldn't have tipped that much because it was. I was you know what? At the end
of the day, you made her day. So.
Yeah. Maybe, but
I'll be honest. I usually do tip when we do pick up. It's a couple bucks, whatever.
Yeah, that's why I usually do a couple dollars, and this time I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do $5, and I don't know. But I always feel awkward. How much do you tip? Because I know they probably split it all at the end of the night, anyways. And I don't know how much business they're truly getting now because they can't fill every table. So I just feel awkward sometimes.
Sometimes,
not knowing
or
how
all
much
the
it
time?
tipped. 98% of the time.
I do have a confession for you guys. Last week I said I wouldn't, we got the new podcast, DFS units doing very well. I said I didn't know if I'd do it every day because I wasn't going to bet on shit like the French Open. I bet on the French Open. I know absolutely nothing about tennis. Hold on. It's not that I don't know nothing about tennis. I understand scoring and shit. I just don't follow tennis. But in my defense.
Did you take Nadal?
No, it was Jokic to win in straight sets in the semis. It was a super boost on FanDuel. So I was like, all right, I'll throw a couple bucks on it. And he choked. I watched the match. Ailey's like, why are we watching tennis? Let's go back to sleep.
Keep it moving.
That's different if it's boosted. It's more acceptable.
I threw $10 on it. It was boosted $550.
Oh, that's worth it.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. I don't feel so bad then. You guys, this is like counseling. I love it.
If you told us you bet on the 18th seed to beat Nadal, then I would have had maybe some issues. I don't know anything about tennis, but I just know Nadal's good on clay.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, check out the other podcasts if you got your sports betting advice. I got my teeth kicked in yesterday, but other than that, it's doing all right. So.
Well, you're doing all right tonight so far. So.
Yeah, I'm doing all right tonight so far. Let's get into. I know Russ is busting the seams for this, and as soon as I saw the news, I'm like, dude's gonna be all over this. Do you Sabres fans want to talk about it?
Ooh. It's about damn time. I don't know. It's hard to tell between him and Pietrangelo who would you call the top free agent this year. But either way, either the first or second free agent this year decided to choose Buffalo, which is a nice change of pace.
You wanted to win, right?
Yeah. Even I laugh at that one as a Sabres fan. So Taylor Hall, he's a winger. He's only 2 seasons removed from a Hart Trophy as league MVP. The key factor in this is Ralph Kruger is the Sabres' current head coach. He's been there for just 1 year or 2 now. But either way, he coached 1 season in Edmonton like 8 years ago, and he had Taylor Hall in Edmonton. And that 1 year, he made a big enough impression that Taylor Hall sought out the Sabres because he wanted to potentially play for Kruger again. So that's a connection, an old connection that definitely helped Buffalo.
Just a 1 year deal. So
yeah, he signed for 1 year, $8 million. He's already said that he's kind of betting on himself and the Sabres. If they have a good year, he has said he's not against potentially negotiating a long-term deal there. So the fact that he's already saying that after only a couple days after signing there is certainly good news for Sabres fans.
So did I read it right? He said he wanted to go to Buffalo and get Jack Eichel on the playoff stage that he deserves.
yes.
Yep. So Eichel, I think Eichel just completed his 5th season in the NHL. Hasn't been to the playoffs yet. So the Sabres haven't been there for 10 years, I believe. And yeah, basically what you just said. He thinks. I mean, in my opinion, Eichel's a top 10 player in the NHL, and yeah, Hall wants to get him there and help him shine on the playoff under the bright lights of the playoffs. So,
And they can.
I like hearing this.
Yeah, and they can help. They can thank the Bills with Bean and McDermott too. I heard that had a little influence on him to see how that franchise turned around, and he thinks the city of Buffalo is on that way. So, and a little bit of influence, the Bills helped bring Taylor Hall.
Yeah. So, with the addition of him and last year's first-round pick, Dylan Cousins, who should be on the team this year, they're going to have a pretty stout top 6, potentially even top 9 forwards. The issue, as it has been for the last few years, is they need a goaltender. The defense is still a little shaky. I think the defense is a lot better if they have a legitimate goalie behind them. So I don't know if they're going to take any sort of run this year. They might have to win a lot of 5-4 hockey games, which isn't the best way. Isn't the best approach to take, but we'll see. Either way, it makes the season a lot more exciting going into it as a Sabres fan.
I got a little nickname for Taylor Hall, and I'll get into it later, but I'm going to call him the Rabbit for right now. I'll get into it later why. Leave you on edge.
Oh, I'm on edge. I might fall off my chair. You know, we forgot to point out that the rest of us who are normally on camera are on camera, but now Statman is on camera in the flesh.
I can't stop looking at myself. I don't know how you guys do it every week with the monitor.
Statman's in the flesh.
Have you seen these? Have you seen?
Wow.
It's good to have you on the camera, man. Maybe you'll get some more
I wish
references.
I had a stand. I've got it at the worst possible angle. Whatever.
Talking about your phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's a little pinched right now, actually.
So I forgot to tell you guys, I'm drinking Philly Make coffee.
Oh,
how much did that cost?
How is it?
It's actually, if you like coffee, you'll like it. I know Russ is not a coffee drinker.
I'm not either. But
So
I'll stick to my water.
I actually haven't received the rest of my.
Sponsored by them.
Phil, I know you got the cash, man. I haven't received everything, Like I haven't seen my full orders. Like it's a subscription. You get like a 30-day supply. But before they sent out 30-day supplies, I haven't got that yet. They sent out the tumbler for people who pre-ordered and samples. So I had a few samples and hot brew, cold brew. So if you like coffee, you'd like it.
So this is a pre-order, something that's not on the market yet. So you're kind of joining the first wave of it.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
Yeah, I think first subscriptions in November, right? Or first month of shipments or end of this month.
No idea.
I think I read.
So you're getting like it's the equivalent of one of those like monthly subscription boxes.
Yeah. But
so what's the idea? Does it have a bunch of stuff added into it, or is it really?
Yeah, it's not pure coffee for sure. Phil's got this whole. He lost a ton of weight because he
puts like some sort of oil and honey and.
He's got all these ingredients he mixes in
turmeric and stuff like that.
Basically, they've turned it into a patent. He started this company and they're shipping it.
Sweet.
So, I like it. I don't know if you like coffee. Well, I don't like Russell. Like he's not a coffee drinker, so. But I like it.
No.
All right, let's get into our. We've all had time to heal with the Bills last night. Your thoughts?
Yeah,
what went wrong? I would say what went right, but nothing happened.
It seemed like pretty much everything went wrong. I was flipping back and forth between that and baseball, doing a couple other things. So I admit I didn't like sit down and study the game the whole time, but I don't know. It seemed like the defense was struggling big time. I don't know if they missed because Trey was out and whoever the hell else was out.
Milano
seemed to make Milano seemed to make a pretty big difference on defense, but I don't know. Yeah, just you hope you just chalk it up to one bad night and move on, which I know is tough in the NFL when you only play 16 games, but going into the season, did you expect the Bills to be 16-0? Probably not.
Exactly. How often does it happen?
Right. Would you take 11-5 if somebody offered you that at the beginning of the year? Well, then you got to suffer 5 losses. So,
yep.
Hopefully.
I agree with that.
I don't care if I have to die on this hill. I just want to see playoff games, plural. I don't care what the record is. Playoff games, plural. That's all I'm asking for.
Not
I don't
the playoff game.
8-8.
I don't think any of us are disagreeing with that. So
8-8 might win the NFC East by 4 games.
Oh my God, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Adam, what are your thoughts on Buffalo?
The defense has just been bad all year. When I saw Milano and White were going to be out, I thought Milano was going to be the bigger impact because stopping Henry. Obviously, that wasn't the case, and I don't even know how many carries Henry ended up with. He only ended up with like 40 yards, I think, or 50. It wasn't much. But Tannehill just threw all over him. Taron Johnson got manhandled. I don't know.
Josh Norman got lit up.
Norman got.
Josh Norman broke his neck, I think, on that one play.
But
so Derrick Henry is a beast.
Oh, he's a monster.
Physically. It's crazy.
And Allen, that first pass that Roberts bobbled up in the air and got picked off. It was a little behind him, but you can't let that ball bounce off you and go up in the air.
Yeah. That's it wasn't a great pass, but to me that's an example where it'd be nice to have a stat category where the turnover goes to the receiver there, not Josh Allen. My opinion.
Yes.
It's hard. It's probably a tough pill to swallow putting that interception on Josh.
Right.
Yeah, and obviously that the other interception was just miserable. I don't know what he was doing.
That was probably his only true interception this year was that second one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Agreed.
these are my observations, and I stewed over this while watching the game from start to finish last night. I understand like Tre'Davious and Milano being out being an impact, but I don't know if that was a difference in the game. They made the same mistakes on defense with those guys in the lineup. I don't understand what's going on. I see what's going on, but I don't understand why they can't fix it. To me, I've never played a down of football, but I feel like I'm smart enough to realize what the hell they're doing is not right. Okay. Stop blitzing everybody. He sends everybody every play, it seems like. I feel like Edmonds and everybody's in the box and they're going after the wide receiver, going after the quarterback, and then they're dumping it over top of their head. They're hitting short passes. They're picking up those yards, continuing drives. 3rd 19 last night. Let's send the house. And what do? Pick up a first down. I thought that was a huge momentum swing last night on that 3rd 19.
Yeah.
Tackling, Josh Roman's a great example. I saw over and over last night with Derrick Henry. That guy is abnormally large for a running back. You do not tackle running backs around the chest, around the shoulders. You go after the legs. And I can't tell you how many times I'm watching and they're like standing them up. I'm like, they're going to run right through you. They're going to pick up those 2 yards, those 3 yards. They're going to keep getting those yards. And Josh Norman last night, like as bad as it looked, he just didn't help himself. He tried to reach out and grab him by the shoulders. He's running sideways, and Henry reaches out and just kind of gives him a little extra push in the same direction he's going, and he goes ass over teacup, and he looks like an idiot. So those are things I've noticed. The linebackers suck. Jerry Hughes needs to go. The guy's got one move off the edge. They do not contain the edge at all. The middle of that field is wide open because they send Edmonds in the box every play. He's not dropping back into coverage like he probably should be the majority of the time. They don't contain the edges because Jerry Hughes they hike the ball. They actually don't even create a pocket around the offensive line. Doesn't have to create a pocket around their quarterback because it's like watching 6-year-olds play soccer. Like it's like flies on shit. Like everyone just goes to the middle and they're just in a ball. And it's like, what are you guys doing? And then the next thing you know, the running back's going by them. Well, that's because you're not plugging holes. You're in there just like bunched up, unorganized, no thought or theory to it. And then they just find a hole big enough. They pick up 4 yards, pick up 5 yards. Like as a linebacker, if you're not blitzing, which I think they're doing too much of, if you're not blitzing, your job is to let that offensive line try to get that stop first, then plug the hole if you see a hole open. And I feel like they're trying to plug the hole before the hole's even there, and then the hole's actually never going to be there. It's someplace else. And you're not containing the edge. It's terrible.
So I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I do not think they're blitzing. Last night was different. I didn't watch. I was watching the Braves game, but I had the Bills game on the iPad. But the first 4 weeks they did not blitz at all. And
well, then what is it then? Because Edmonds and everybody's going after the quarterback. It's terrible.
Edmonds is overrated. First of all.
I don't think he's the issue at linebacker. He's probably the best linebacker other than Milano. But that's the other thing. Bills only run 2 linebackers most of the game.
Yeah, they've only got 2 linebackers. So, yeah, they've only got 2 linebackers. Their pass rush is not good at all. Those front 4, and they're paying them, $60 million. That front 4 or front 9. What the defensive line's getting $60-some million, and they're not rushing. They're terrible. So one of my questions is, obviously, the fans did not want to pay Jordan Phillips. That's the only difference on that defensive line this year, and it's miserable. Should you have paid Phillips $7 million a year?
Right.
To stay.
Do you think they struggled to get pressure? Because this is just me thinking, because nothing's changed the first 5 weeks. Edmonds spends too much time in the box, way too much time in the box, instead of in coverage, covering the middle. If something goes on the edge and it's open, he's got to get to that. And he's not doing that because his ass is behind Ed Oliver's touching it. He's in the mix of everything. He is. If you watch the game, he's just always in there. It's like, dude, what are you doing in there? So
he's miserable for covering.
Is it hard for, but he's got to make a tackle then. He's got to get out on the edge. But you can't do that if you're holding on to fucking Ed Oliver's jockstrap.
Yeah. Well, that's why I say he's overrated.
Do you think, it's just poor coaching. Do you think it's harder for a defensive lineman to make an athletic move, bust off, a defensive lineman like an Ed Oliver, any of those guys, to make an athletic move, go in a one-on-one battle and try to single guys out when you've got your linebackers just clocking everything up? Like Ed Oliver can't make a swim move, go to his left, go to his right, because if he does, he's got his own player on his ass. Like, do you see what I'm saying? There's not enough space there, I feel like, for them to make a move or, be athletic. Like, and they don't seal the outsides. You're letting Ryan Tannehill run to the outside and run on the edge. Like, come on.
I don't understand. After he ran the first one, and then he had like 4 runs over 15 yards. And after the first one, I'm like, is someone going to go out there? But I think And one other difference is I don't know when he took it over, but McDermott is now making defensive calls instead of Frazier.
Really? Did not know that.
So I don't know if that is part of the issue as well.
Why isn't Leslie Frazier? I mean, you had like the third best defense in the league last year. Like,
I was going to say, if things are going well, why would you make that shift?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when he took them over, if it was beginning of the year, if it was, 2 games in because it was so bad. I don't know when he took them over. But, yeah, I heard McDermott is making the calls now. So,
well, like you said, what changes have actually been made on defense? And like you said, the line, it's Phillips.
Yeah.
Still have your linebackers from last year. If anything, you added Josh Norman, which I think Norman got exposed more last night because we're not seeing the Josh Norman that was in Carolina. But because Tre'Davious is out, Josh Norman's got to guard the one guy, and he can't anymore. He's too slow.
Yeah. Well, and he's better zone anyway, so they can put Trey one-on-one and then play a zone with the rest of the guys if they need to.
But I felt like Tre'Davious hasn't played great this year.
No, but he's still
Tre'Davious.
Yeah, he's still top guy.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it, I think. No banner year, but he's still producing.
Yeah. I would say you gotta chalk it up as we played like shit. I felt like the entire team as a whole, the energy was not there. Josh looked just defeated. He looked flat. He looked like he just bored. I mean, they scored that first touchdown. Like, I didn't even see anybody really celebrate. Like, they just kind of like, high five, like they just made birdie and just walked to the sidelines. I felt like the energy wasn't there. Yeah. Well, I just felt like the energy wasn't there. They weren't their jovial self. They didn't look like they're having fun. I mean, at that point, the game's 7-7. You're still in the game. Like, I just don't understand like why. The other thing that I wrote down was they started drives on the 30, the 18th, the 16th, and the 12th. They had 4 drives inside the 30 last night that they started. That doesn't help either.
Yeah.
My impression last night was, and I didn't think about it at the time, but you guys have really brought it to light. My impression last night was that everything was rushed. Just whenever the ball would get snapped, it was like there wasn't that normal cadence to get through the play. It seemed like everything was rushed, but now you guys are talking about how the defense didn't play well, and it all kind of seems to mesh together. If you've got the defense not holding them back, you're going to have to get rid of it faster. And I think people are going to look at Josh's stats and maybe say, like, was that a flash in the pan for the beginning of the season, whatever. But I don't think it all comes back onto him. I think it comes down to the defense, like you guys were saying. Even though I didn't think it at first, I think that really is a good observation.
And I'm not putting Josh in the same category as Patrick Mahomes. But at the same time, it's like, if you're going to talk about Josh, then how come we aren't having the same conversations about Kansas City about, they lost to the Raiders, a team that Buffalo beat, right? So you got to chalk it up to a bad week. I think this is a great opportunity where we could see an impact in coaching. Like, there needs to be like, do you guys see how flat you were out there? You look like you had better shit to do. There was no energy out there. They just flat out got outplayed. I still don't think Tennessee's that good of a football team. I thought Buffalo looked that bad last night and just had no energy, and Tennessee wanted it more. That's it. You can't do that.
Well, and this is by definitely the best defense they've faced this year. Tennessee's got a good defense, so.
Yeah, it's just, you got to chalk it up. You got to move on, but that defense is terrible.
Yeah. That's the one I don't understand at all. And obviously we're 5 weeks in, they're still, I think I saw they're 28th in the NFL, their defense.
Ross, it looked like college football where we were talking about, like, they didn't actually try to play defense. It was almost like they wanted the receiver to catch it, and then we're going to go tackle him.
Yeah. If that same flat defense shows up against Mahomes, that will be ugly.
He'll put up 60.
Yeah.
That game might be in the hundreds.
So next week's going to be a big test against them, which we probably knew that when the schedule came out, but that was also when we thought we had last year's stout defense.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So are you saying bet the over?
Go get it right now. It's only like 52 right now or something, 53.
I don't have it written down.
Oh.
Go get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that flat defense shows up, Mahomes might put 40 to 50 up. So
And KC's defense isn't great, so Bills could definitely put up 30.
I'm sold.
Well, yeah. So there's some other stuff going on in the NFL this week. It's definitely a topic of discussion. We've talked about him a lot. Dak Prescott. Like, how unfortunate is all of this for Dak?
Yeah, that was ugly. So anybody watching, if they didn't see, Dak unfortunately had a rather serious injury. He got tackled and his leg folded up under him. I believe it was a complete dislocation and a multiple fractures in his ankle. So I think he had emergency surgery that night.
Yep. And
I don't know if they put a timetable on it, but it kind of goes without saying his season's over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was tough to watch. I'm a guy who's had knee injuries, and I usually get a little squeamish when I see leg and knee injuries for some reason. I haven't been through anything like what Dak went through, but it brings back memories of old injuries when you see shit like that. And whether you're a Cowboys fan or not, that's tough to see. Hopefully he makes full recovery and gets back out there soon.
Yeah, I didn't see it live. I was taking a shit, but I came out and hey,
that's unbelievable analysis right there.
But so someone had texted me and they're like, "Oh, that sucks," and I was like, "What happened?" They're like, "Dak going off on stretcher."
You got a text like you send us? Oh, that sucks, with no context to it.
Well, I was literally texting. I was texting the person about 5 minutes earlier about the game, so he thought I was watching still. But so I started looking on Twitter, and they're like, "Oh, if you don't watch the video," and obviously I watch it. But Ross, the first thing I thought of, just the look of it, was Jason Kendall running down first base and hitting first base. Like, that's the initial thing I thought when I saw it.
That's one of the worst ones I've ever seen. My dad always talks about that one. Jason Kendall is an old Pittsburgh Pirates catcher.
Yeah.
So this was probably early 2000s. He had a similar injury. He was running out of base hit the first, and his ankle rolled. I don't know if it was on the base or on first baseman's foot. His ankle rolled, and he basically ended up with the same injury, at full speed. The unfortunate thing with Kendall is he was still running at full speed, and he had to take another step on that leg, which gives me goosebumps thinking about that. That was ugly.
Like Silva trying to put his leg down after he broke it.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two things that jumped out at me. What's that?
Oh, I was gonna say, do you guys remember March Madness? Like
Kevin
Ware when he broke his leg right in half on TV, and
yeah, that's probably the worst one I've ever seen.
Unfortunately, we can probably come up with 10 different examples of this. I think Kendall's was just as bad, except he had his long baseball socks on, and that was keeping his foot attached. And that's actually no joke.
Ooh.
But the two things I noticed when Dak first rolled over, so you're talking 2 seconds after the injury. One time I dislocated my finger real bad. It was pointing the wrong direction. And for some reason, my natural instinct was to grab it and put it back in place. I didn't think about it at all. I just happened to grab it and pop it back in.
Did it work?
If you notice, yeah, it did actually. If you notice with Dak, when he first, like I said, 2 seconds after it broke, and he rolled over, he was sitting, he actually took his leg and slammed his foot into the ground like he was trying to pop it back into place.
Yeah.
If you watch the video again, you'll notice that. He slammed his foot off the ground. It was almost that natural instinct of, this doesn't feel right, I need to pop it back into place, which did not work.
That's why I didn't think it was broke at first.
And then, yeah.
Is it possible he's had issues before and we didn't know about him?
I don't think he's had any.
I mean, if that's his instinct to go right to that move.
Right. It can't be anything that bad, because I don't think he's ever missed an NFL game before.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, my version of the dud of the week, they're showing him sitting there and his foot's facing the wrong way, right? It's clearly broken. And Tony Romo says, "Man, you got to hope that's just a cramp." Tony, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
think about
10
what
out
you're
of
saying,
10.
Tony. Oh my God, that was such a stupid statement by Romo. And I'm sure in that moment you don't really know what to say on air, but
You're just
saying I hope that's
time
just a
there,
cramp.
Yeah.
Saying you hope it's a cramp when his foot's almost falling off. I don't know. But yeah, no matter what you feel about him or the Cowboys, that sucks seeing that happen. And hopefully, he makes full recovery. That dude's been through a lot this year. We've talked about with his brother's suicide and contract talks, and
that's the big one with me for all this is the contract. That was the go-to Monday morning was, everyone felt bad because of the contract. And there was a lot of back and forth between experts. I feel like I understand there was issues there. But at the same time, it's like, I see both sides of the argument. As a person, Jerry Jones needs to do the right thing and make sure Dak's taken care of here. I'm talking physically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Physically. I did hear a former NFL player make a point that he should have signed the contract because the 5th year is always optional, apparently. And if you're not happy anyway, you can just probably opt out of that. They're going to cut you so you can go elsewhere. Because there was others who said, time out. We can't feel bad for the guy because he doesn't have a contract. When the Cowboys put a contract in front of him, he didn't sign it. It takes two parties. And from what I looked up, the rumor was it was $175 million, and his agent wanted more in the 5th year, I believe. They didn't say how much. I don't remember if they said how much was guaranteed, but either way, he did have a lot of money in front of him. He turned it down. Stephen A. tried to make the point that, if this was Tony Romo, it would be a done deal because Tony Romo got a contract at this age that was older than Dak. And I think the difference there is when Romo was there, I could be wrong. I don't think Romo had the Ezekiel Elliott's and the other bigger names there that were going to also have to be paid. I don't know if I could be wrong. I'm just trying to go off memory here. And so I think that might have been part of the thing too with Tony is, he did get a big contract, but I'm not sure they also had a running back that wanted, $140 million or whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, when Romo was roughly Dak's age, if he was going through those same contract talks, it had to have been, what are we talking, 12 years ago? There's a lot that's changed in the last decade in terms of the finances of sports contracts. So it's tough to compare those two situations just because they're on the same team. But
I mean,
we somewhat talked about this with Dak that, just sign the deal. But at the end of the day, he's still on the franchise tag. I think he's getting, $34 million this season. He'll be back. He will be back. But ultimately, if this was a career ender and you still make $34 million a season, financially, you should be set for your life.
Yeah.
But I don't think this isn't the end of him. We'll see him again.
Yeah, and I think lucky enough for him, he was able to have surgery Sunday night, which is to me in my eyes, that's crazy that he was able to have surgery, 5 hours after the game, after the injury happened.
They called some national foot and ankle specialist, flew him in to do it.
Yeah, I think he's from Houston. So
that's one advantage for these athletes, right? Is whatever top-notch medical attention they need, they're going to get it.
Yeah. And so I think as long as obviously he makes full recovery, he's probably going to still get a contract in $40 million range. So with who, I don't know, but I think he'll still get that contract.
I mean, maybe this is the situation. You don't want to see him go through this, but maybe this is somewhat of his wake-up call. And you get through this year, and if Jerry Jones comes to him this offseason and says, hey, we still want you back, but the leg's a concern now. We can only offer you 3 years, $20 million per. Well, there's another $60 million in your bank. Maybe you've got to take that, and he'll be all right. He'll be back. He'll be all right.
Yeah. Yep.
They're saying maybe May, April to June, probably May, more likely.
I hadn't seen timetable.
Yeah, I heard 6 to 8 or 4 to 6 months, which is right around. Probably they're saying this could be mostly like May. I mean, he'll probably be cleared for playing, but it just that injury. I mean, and last week was with Alex Smith, where I don't know if you guys saw the highlights of that. And I heard a really good take on Alex Smith today. Like, he's a great guy. It's a great story. It's unbelievable what he's done and come back to be able to play. But the guy's point was, okay, yeah, he can play, but can he play?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good enough to play in, your turkey bowl on Thanksgiving morning, but should he really truly be out there with Aaron O'Darnell riding his back? Like,
if I were Alex Smith, I'd be happy that I proved to myself I could make the comeback, and I would retire.
I also don't think he anticipated playing at all. Like, he was third string.
Yeah.
Like, they had all these plans. So
he seems like he's a pretty smart guy, good head on his shoulders. He could probably honestly find a good coaching gig somewhere. He seems like a guy that would be pretty good at that.
I know
players want to play, but I don't know. That injury would always be in the back of my mind.
Dude, how about Haskins not even showing up for practice anymore?
Yeah, that dude's a clown. That dude's a clown, man.
Well, he went to the Ohio State, so.
I read that today. Like, I remember last week it was he's not even dressing. He's going to be third string. And then they're like, he's not even showing up because he doesn't feel good, was his excuse.
Yeah.
He's not showing up. Which there's going to be he's on the trade block from what I keep hearing every day. And speaking of trade block, while we're doing this, I got clowns tweeting me about Le'Veon Bell because McAfee said, does Bills Mafia need Le'Veon Bell? So I have some guy whose profile picture is him watering his plants, basically. It is. Go to Twitter and look. He's like posing behind his plants. Like, Taylor's got a bigger cactus than you have in your profile picture. Shut the fuck up. But because someone I replied to McAfee's tweet, does Bills Mafia need Le'Veon Bell? And I said, basically, like, do they need another running back? I don't think any of us would disagree. Like, the running game is not great this year. And I think we're almost to that point with Singletary. Like, it's make or break. Are you really going to produce or not? And then you have Moss, who's hurt. No time. I don't know what the timetable is on him if he's coming back.
I'm guessing he'll be back next week because they thought he was going to play last night.
This week, okay. Either way, does it hurt to have a stud running back? No. But my point to said jackass on Twitter was, we're 5 weeks in. Do you really want to bring in Le'Veon Bell, who has a history of being canceled in a locker room? And his response was, I love how guys make takes and they've never been in an NFL locker room. Well, it's a good assumption. Maybe I have never been in an NFL locker room, but that doesn't figuratively mean and literally in an NFL locker room. It's just in general. You cause a rift when you deal with your organization poorly. Players don't like your attitude, whether it be on social media or outside the locker room. That still is encompassing the locker room. Subtweeting the Jets because you're pissed off how they're using you is not a good way to get your way.
Yeah. That dude's a clown. I don't need him anywhere near the Bills. It's the same scenario as why Antonio Brown's arguably still one of the better receivers in the world, and he's sitting at home.
Right.
I don't think Le'Veon Bell is far away from that.
One good stat is worth pulling down everyone's stats.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and I heard, I don't know, I didn't see it. Sanchez texted me today and asked me about it, but he read that whoever signed Le'Veon has to pay him $4 million this year.
I heard
because of his contract, so they would still owe him $4 million, and I'm like, for $4 million, no chance.
Well, this is what I heard today. They released him, so the Jets still have to pay him some sort of whatever his guarantee is. They have to pay him that for releasing him, and there's a prorated price in there as well. I heard that once he's released and he clears waivers, I believe, that anybody can sign him for veteran league minimum.
Okay.
So I don't know how much that is. Is it $4 million?
No, I wouldn't. I think veteran minimum is like $1 million.
So maybe there it is. Over that. Le'Veon shot himself in the butt again. Let's piss off the Pittsburgh Steelers, sit out because I want more money. And then I'm going to sign with the Jets for less money. And now I'm going to piss off the Jets because I'm not getting used how I want to. So now I'm not going to make any of that money that I sat out for.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if someone does sign him. I was trying to think of some teams that potentially could use him. I don't know. Chargers with Eckler being out for another 6 weeks or whatever it is.
That'd be a good spot for him.
Chicago. Yeah, I mean, San Diego seems like a good spot because they use Eckler in that same way.
Have you watched Herbert play yet?
Yeah.
He looks good.
Yeah.
I like Justin Herbert.
If they can get a good line around him, he'll be good. Chicago's another place I thought of for Le'Veon. I don't know if they would want him, but I feel like there aren't many teams that would sign him or need him at this point.
There's a scenario that I've heard tossed around this week. And by scenario, I mean in Miami, they're holding their breath because, as you guys remember from the draft, the Chargers basically said, if the Dolphins take Tua, we're taking Herbert. If they take Herbert, we're taking Tua. So now all the pressure's on Miami right now. Like, I hope Tua can play at least this well.
Yeah.
Because Herbert is he's exceeding expectations at this point. Not winning, but they should have won last week. They should have won this past week. That was off.
I mean, you always get those comparisons out of drafts, right?
Yeah.
The same as people questioning Trubisky right now against Mahomes.
That's a close comparison.
It's a nut. Right. Wasn't Trubisky taken ahead of Mahomes in that draft?
He was.
Yeah.
And the Bills traded away the pick for the Chiefs to draft up and draft Mahomes.
So those comparisons, unfortunately, are inevitable. But
well, yeah, and you never know. Think about, and I don't know why I was thinking about this the other day, but when Jameis and Mariota came out, how many people criticized Tampa for taking Jameis? And now Jameis, as a backup, is making what, $7 million a year, and Mariota is not playing.
Speaking of Jameis, we going to see Jameis soon?
I don't know.
Crab legs?
Well, I'm not. I don't want any crab legs, but
I don't know where the hell Jameis is these days.
He's in New Orleans.
Backing up.
Another clown, Mike. Oh yeah.
I mean, it problem is they're still winning, right? So it's hard when you're winning to take Breeze out. I think if they hit a couple game losing streak, you might see him in there, or obviously if Breeze gets hurt. But as long as the Saints are winning, I don't think we'll see Jameis.
Breeze is also, anybody analyzing that situation is going to also throw in the caveat that Michael Thomas has been out.
This is the first time we've seen Breeze without Michael Thomas for sure.
Yeah, so
which was odd to me was the other night during the game is Michael Thomas is out. That first half, they didn't use Kamara like I thought they should have. Like they just, I don't know. They did a lot of running on second long and put themselves on third and long, third and short, and didn't convert, and that's why they were down 10 points, whatever it was at the half.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Russell's tired and he needs a nap.
You want some Phil coffee? Some Philly make coffee?
Good.
All right.
I'm good, thank you. I will go for a nap though.
The other quarterback, I think it's gonna the talk's gonna subside this week, but it's gonna ramp back up. It's Phillip Rivers. They play the Bengals this week, so he could go out and have a decent game. We're not talking about it as much. I think Rivers is done. That guy looks awful.
Yeah, I think Bengals win this week.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Bengals are going to win, man. They look pretty bad last week against a really bad. I don't want to say really bad quarterback, but he's putting up not great stats for them. They're just winning.
Yeah,
Lamar Jackson's got like a 55% completion percentage right now, and they're winning.
Yeah, he obviously just doesn't look good. And I don't know. I haven't watched any of the Ravens games, but they're an interesting team to me, and because it'd be interesting when they do play Pittsburgh, which I think is coming up here in a week or so, 2 weeks.
I think even the shocker for me 2 weeks in a row, because they fucked me on a parlay, was the Browns. I put too much stock in Rivers, not enough in the Browns. I chalked it up to Dallas's defense was terrible, and I took the Colts this past week, and it backfired on me. But I also had Russ and I had a prop bet for Mayfield to throw less than 236 yards. He threw for 247, I think. He was averaging like 180 yards going into the week.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And that's what everybody's talking about. The Colts defense should be good, and I just feel like they're not. They're decent, but they're not.
Missing Darius Leonard last week, but I don't know how much impact that had.
Right.
Anything else in football? I'm trying to think if we're missing anything in football. I got boned on the in some college football, Texas, Oklahoma.
Oof.
I had the under. It was 31-17 with 4 minutes left. The over-under was 74 and a half. 31-17 with 4 minutes left. Game goes to overtime. They score like 98 points.
Oh, my God.
So,
I took the over in the Clemson game. So I actually watched quite a bit of that. That Trevor Lawrence is just, that kid's so good.
Done.
Yeah.
Some of the throws he makes are unbelievable.
Do the Falcons get him now?
If I'm Trevor Lawrence, that's where I want to go. They're best suited for the future, at least the immediate future.
Right.
My opinion.
Well, we still got 3 defeated teams, right? So
I think Giants get their first win this week. They play Washington.
It should be I'm not going to watch it because I don't really care at all, but I think that'll be it should be a good game. 2 teams that are not very good.
Well, I threw in a future bet on somebody to go 0-16, and the Jets are like, we got you, man. Le'Veon Bell, you're out of here. So my chances just went up.
Just have him get rid of Crowder, and you'll be really good.
If you're the Jets, okay, first of all, terrible organization, clearly. I get Le'Veon Bell is a problem. He's being an asshole on Twitter. He's doing all those things. There's probably things behind the scenes. Why would you cut your running back before you got rid of your shit coach? Like you're going to pay, if you're paying Bell a ton of money, like at least bring in another coach or try something new. A little cheaper.
I mean, I know we haven't been in the locker room, but to me, that kind of proves how big of an asshat that guy is.
Yeah.
He's got to be doing something behind the scenes that's pissing that franchise off for them to cut him.
I feel like he's pissed everybody off. Remember when he left Pittsburgh, he tried blaming on Roethlisberger, and Roethlisberger didn't say anything, took the high road. Yeah. We're finding out it was Bell.
If he was still in Pittsburgh running behind that offensive line, the dude would be on his way to a couple Super Bowl rings and the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
But
in long term would have made more than $15-16 million for a year for 4 years. I think honestly, I think leaving Pittsburgh might cost him being in the Hall of Fame someday, potentially.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but if he's in Pittsburgh and he went, like Rush just said, if he stays in Pittsburgh and they win 2-3 more rings after the seasons he had there, I mean, that's kind of hard to keep him out of Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
Down the road.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to baseball.
All right.
My Yanks got their dick kicked in. They need to make some serious fucking changes. And by changes, I saw the Yankees from like 3 years ago. We don't need 7 guys go to the plate and try to hit a home run. We just don't. Like, I mean, I get like Luke Voigt's got power and all these guys, but they literally walk up to the plate and just out of their shoes. It's like, dude, you're down like a couple runs. You want to just maybe put a ball in play and see where it goes? Choke up on the bat, something. They're not doing that.
It's like the game is for solo home runs only.
Yeah. And that's not going to win you games in the playoffs.
You would think more of the Yankees teammates would be watching DJ LeMahieu and trying to mimic what he does.
Right.
He's the exact opposite. He obviously won the batting title this year. He has one in the National League. That dude just takes the right approach at the plate, and he is one hell of a hitter.
Right.
He's not trying to hit a home run every time. He's got no problem driving it the opposite way for singles here and there, just getting on base. And man, you would think your teammates would notice after a while and try to mimic that approach.
I mean, we all play golf. Do you hit the ball further every time and make good contact when you swing out of your shoes? No. You got to be something. You know what I mean? I mean, that's my observation of is they have a great lineup, but it was just like they got to the playoffs and it's like, I want to be the hero. I'm going to try to hit it out of this damn stadium. And I'm like, that's not going to win you playoff games. That is, as much as I hate the Astros, that's what won them the World Series 2 years ago. I mean, they had guys just, the Bregmans, those guys just fucking slapping base hits and kept runners on. And just, you throw runners on base, your pitcher's out of rhythm. He's got to go to the stretch. He's got to worry about those runners. That wins playoff baseball games in October. And that's just my opinion. But
yeah, and I feel like they don't. I don't know the stats, but I feel like they don't walk enough.
Yeah,
as a team, they swing a lot of stuff out of the zone.
Sad part is the guy who probably walks the most on that team probably strikes out the most, and that's Aaron Judge.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, Judge works to a lot of 3-2 counts, but he can't be the only one doing that. And you got to put the ball in play.
I don't even know what game it was. It might have been game 4. No, it must have been game 3. That when the Rays won, Stanton came up in the 9th, and he literally didn't take the bat off his shoulder until the last pitch. It went to a 3-2 count. He never moved the bat. And the two strikes before were fastballs down the middle. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Stanton doesn't even step out of the box normally anyway. He just stands there. Like, pitch comes in, he just waits. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw today that young Steinbrenner is claiming, we're close. We apologize. Same old song and dance. But it's like, there was a long time ago, there was a few years ago, I was like, man, I just hope the Yankees stink because they need to learn to develop a farm system and not spend money on players that has-beens or at the back end of their career. A great example is I read on Twitter like nonstop, like, Yankees got the biggest payroll and they can't fucking win. All right, well, I went and looked it up. 25% of their payroll didn't play in the playoffs. Another and then I think of who played, 17% of that of their payroll playing is tied up in Tanaka, Stanton, and Cole. Everybody else is they're on arbitration deals or they're right there. So they got, the big one that they got on their payroll still is they're fucking paying Jacoby Ellsbury. Like that guy's that was a waste of money. Like it's unreal. Like it's just crazy. Like you can go look up. All you gotta do is Google it, and literally it's 17 or 18% of their payroll is based off from Cole, Tanaka, and Stanton, and then they have Ellsbury tied up. Then they have 2 pitchers who aren't playing because they're hurt. It added up to 48% of their payroll. Didn't even like.
And to me, there's one guy in that staff that they've got to get rid of that they're paying a decent amount to.
Tanaka.
No, Chapman.
Oh, dude, what a waste! What a waste!
I don't know. He can't throw strikes anymore. To me, he's just a waste right now.
He still throws gas, but he misses his marks anymore. Like he leaves too many fastballs over the plate. And when you leave a fastball over the plate in Major League Baseball, it's coming. You're a closer. They know your fastball is probably coming. So,
well, right, and I don't know, 7-8 years ago, if you're throwing 99 to 100, like you're bringing it, and now there's 3 guys in every bullpen that are throwing 99 to 100. So
right,
it doesn't matter anymore that you're throwing that hard.
Right. Now they got to make it. Just I don't know. They reverted back to their old ways and look like shit. So I'm glad they lost. Maybe they'll wake them up and they'll make some changes. But we got tired of watching Luke Voigt and his cheeseburger hanging out, trying to hit balls over the fence and swinging and missing.
I was on cloud 9 until about 3 hours ago, but.
So your Braves, are they still getting their dick kicked in right now currently?
Hey, they're only down 14. Making a comeback.
But this is actually painful to watch. I've got it on too.
I've got
it's one of those games where even the first inning, Snicker went over. I don't know if it was Camargo or Culberson. Might have been Culberson.
Yeah,
told him to be ready to pitch in this game. Yeah. So when the Braves manager is ready to mail it in the top of the first inning, it's almost painful. It's also awkward to watch this game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well,
I thought I had a good suggestion in the text messages earlier about
throwing the towel like a fighter. Just throw it in.
But the reason, obviously, you can't do that. But the reason you can't do that, Taylor, is I haven't paid attention to how many guys have pitched in this for the Braves, but this could have a serious impact for the rest of the series as far as the Braves pitching. Because, and I don't get this, 10 years ago, teams had no problem finding 5 starters. Now, starters 4 and 5 may not have been magnificent, but there were still guys that could go out there every 5th day and give you at least 6 innings. So I think the Braves have already said they're going to have a bullpen game tomorrow, right?
They're throwing
kid starting.
Yeah, they're throwing a 22-year-old tomorrow and probably throwing I'm guessing they'll bring Newcomb to start Game 5, but
so they had to have been banking on Kyle Wright throwing 6 or 7 innings tonight, not getting into the bullpen to rest them for the next 2 games when they were going to be their workhorses. And that was thrown out the window.
Yeah, and obviously it's hurt them all. Obviously, they've had pitching trouble all year, and obviously being a 60-game season helped them only having 3 starters. But obviously with Soroka going down early, Hamels I think he threw like an inning and a third this year and was hurt again. And then Felix Hernandez, who obviously would have been a good starter, but he opted out because of COVID. So they've really been struggling with starting pitching all year. And Anderson and Wright have just came up in the first month of the season. They literally had 1 starter. They were throwing bullpen games 4 out of 5 nights. Yeah. And that's why I think the roster's at 28 guys. I think they've got 15 pitchers on the roster this series. But so it'll make it interesting for the next 2 nights how this happens. And I mentioned this to Kyle in a text earlier today. With how good the Dodgers pitching is, this game could turn this around. Dodgers could win 4 straight, without a doubt.
Yes.
I mean, they got Kershaw going tomorrow, and then I don't know what they'll do Game 5, but then you got Buehler coming back in 6. So
yeah, is that this could turn into a blessing in disguise with Kershaw not playing Game 2?
Yeah, and so they were talking about that. I was reading on Twitter before we started here, and someone asked, if you're the Dodgers, why don't you just Urias, I think that's how you say his name, guy who started tonight, don't even throw him. Go get a long reliever, let him throw. Well, you score 11 in the first, and then throw Urias tomorrow and give Kershaw another day to rest and bring him out in Game 5.
Yeah, it's possible.
Especially when you score 11 in the first. I mean, but so it'll be interesting how this goes. And obviously this no days off has been crazy for, I think, every team. Obviously the American League Series is a little different right now, but which I'm happy is happening right now.
I mean, and Tampa looks good. I mean, they're hot right now. That's playoff baseball too. Like, you got to get hot at the right time. I mean,
and they've got 3 outstanding starters.
Yeah,
which really helps them. So,
speaking of Tampa, I don't know if you guys listened to my podcast this morning when I referred to Altuve's problems is the Chuck Knobloch syndrome. Do you guys remember when Chuck Knobloch couldn't throw it to first base from second?
Yeah.
I think Altuve's hurt. I think he's got something seriously going on with something in his right arm, whether it's his elbow or Knobloch just had the yips, and he'd go to throw from second to first, and he'd put it up in the 7th row behind the dugout. But Altuve just looks like he's hurt and doesn't trust making the throwing motion, which could be, I guess it could be your shoulder. Your arm goes above your shoulder when you're throwing, and that's when the certain pain would go in there. But when you swing the bat, it wouldn't affect you as bad because he's still hitting good. I'm convinced he's got serious injury going on.
Yeah, and I think I saw a picture. Yeah, I think I saw a picture on. I think it was on Twitter last night during the game. Someone took like a screenshot basically of him letting go of the ball. I think it was the one that went to first that bounced, and he was like grimacing as he threw. Mm-hmm. Like if you're making a 60-foot throw and you grimace, something's not right.
Yeah, it didn't look good last night. He one-hopped one into first, and he one-hopped it into second, and they missed it.
Yeah, that missed double play kind of turned the game around.
Yep.
Tampa.
Yep, sure did. Is that game started yet, Adam?
Probably soon. I don't know what time it is. Started about a half hour ago.
Cool. So last Wednesday, we got done recording, and I got home and I turned on the Dodgers Padres game. They were still playing their series a week ago. So last week we talked about at some point it got mentioned about the bat flips. How I said I don't mind them. I agree with that mindset of if you don't want me to show you up a little bit, then get me out. Don't let me hit the home run. But I kind of mentioned I thought they were getting a little bit extreme. So in that game, Machado hit a home run middle of the game. I don't know, it was like 5th or 6th inning. And in Machado fashion, did a serious bat flip and, walked it, and excessive a little bit. So then late in that game, I think it was a 1-run ball game maybe, and Tatis blasted one to center field, and Bellinger went up and robbed the home run to end the inning. And whoever was pitching, went off celebrating. Bellinger was pumped. You're talking about a clinching game in the playoffs, and Bellinger goes and robs a home run to deep center, right? It's kind of the equivalent of hitting a home run in a game in the playoffs.
Big clutch play.
These guys are celebrating that play. And Machado comes out of the dugout and is about to start a full brawl. He was at the foul line, yelling at the Dodgers dugout, ready to start a brawl in this. To me, that's that. It actually pissed me off, because you can't hit a mammoth home run, bat flip, show up the pitcher, and then be mad when an outfielder robs one and does the same thing you just did.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent on offense and defense. That's the equivalent to each other. And if you're going to bat flip it like a king, you can't be mad when they do the same to you.
Right.
So
that annoys me.
Yeah, and in that play, I've never seen a pitcher throw his hat in his glove in the NLDS in inning 7 or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was weird, no doubt. It was a weird celebration. I get that, but hey, how is me throwing my glove in the air different than you hitting a home run and flipping your bat 20 feet in the air?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm waiting for Snitker to complain.
Don't dish it out.
Yeah,
right,
I'm waiting for Snitker to complain tonight. They're in Texas. Dodgers fit 2 3-0 home runs after they were up 11-0.
Well, you're supposed to stop swinging the bat, remember?
That's right. You can't swing the bat when you're up 11-0.
We forgot to talk about. We're supposed to let Russ open with the NHL and one other thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Anthony Davis won the NBA championship.
Listen, Russ.
Yeah, whatever. Lakers
I don't know if you
won.
heard, but he wants his damn respect.
From me?
Yeah, from you. He called
you
during the interview. He called you out.
He's a clown with one more ring now.
He literally said that. And the best tweet I saw, I don't know who it was. I probably haven't, because I think I retweeted it or liked it. Was somebody's like, "Do you remember when Tiger and Jordan demanded their respect?" Yeah, I don't either.
No, never.
It's unreal. Just a different era. So I got to ask you guys something about LeBron, because I did watch a little bit more of basketball now during the finals. On the court, the guy is a fantastic basketball player. I'll never take that away from him.
Yep.
But in the words
of Pat,
I've
never denied that either.
But in the words of Pat McAfee, who said, "Guy's great on the court, and I can understand why you want to punch him in the mouth." So he says some shit that's a little off color and is a little bit. It's just arrogant. If you're great, let other people talk about it. You can't be that arrogant, talk about it, and then expect people to respect you. And it's I feel like I mean, as kids, I learned that I would go, you play a sport, you play baseball. When I was a kid, I played a lot of baseball and basketball. My parents would always tell me, don't brag about if you played well. Let other people talk about it. Let it speak for itself. You don't need to be told you're great, whatever you're doing. And he's the opposite of that. This guy's got to remind you all the time about how great he is, and he demands respect. But here's my observation. Between him and Anthony Davis, I feel like the two of them give off this vibe, it's me and Anthony, and then there's the rest of you guys over there. I really feel like they treat the team like everything is about them two. They're always huddling together, just the two of them. They always walk off the court, just the two of them. And it's the best way to describe it is when you were a kid on the playground, you're talking to your friend, and like someone comes over and you're like, no, you can't be a part of this conversation. I really feel like that's how the two of them act around, even with their team. It's like there's us and then there's you guys. You do what you're told, peasant type of mentality.
Yeah, I agree with that. I referenced that play with Kuzma last week's episode where Kuzma made a bad play and he just threw him under the bus. You don't see him do that with Davis ever.
Right.
The two guys they're unbelievable basketball players. I don't deny that, but LeBron's personality just rubs me the wrong way.
And that falls under Davis too. Like you got to be a leader as well. If you're the vet with LeBron and you're quote unquote leading this team, then you need to be more of a leader and not like you said. You can't be like calling people out. You don't do that.
Yeah.
Dude, and the start of that show, Game 6 was J.R. Smith. He was shirtless before the clock hit 0, I think.
Yeah. You didn't see it, Taylor?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Dude, the guy's like, he's won 3. I think he's won 3 NBA titles now. But every time he's like got his jersey off basically pretty much before the clock hit 0.
I like it.
There was some pretty funny like Instagram live stuff on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah.
Like they left Quinn Cook at the arena. The boss left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like was in was it Rondo or no? Whose chat was it? He was in J.R. Smith's, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was trying to he's like in
to make a U-turn.
Yeah, he's like on Instagram live with J.R. Smith. He's like, you guys forgot me. You need to come back. You got to come back. He was still at the arena.
Dwight Howard's in the locker room celebrating and exposed like he was having text and an argument with like his baby mama or girlfriend. Like Instagram live would come up and go away and be like these text messages.
Hey, I always enjoy and obviously hockey was the same way when that ended. NBA, you'll get it with baseball too, especially being in the bubble. Like I always enjoy watching those guys celebrate. I don't know. I guess it's just a joy of like winning a championship.
I didn't enjoy watching LeBron and Anthony Davis circle jerk each other. Like, LeBron's giving a speech, an acceptance speech for the NBA, and like Anthony Davis is right here like squawking like a damn parrot. And I'm like, you're like, come on, man. Did you get? I sent a link to all of you. I know I sent to Russ the video that somebody made of like after the Lakers lost that game. Was it Game 4 they lost? Because they won in 5, didn't they?
Game 5.
They lost Game 5?
Yeah.
Did you get the video I sent you? Like they made the parody video of like the guys trying to walk in the locker room. It was like this guy pretending to be LeBron. He was like choking everybody. I'll send it to you guys after this. It was pretty good. All right. Anything else, boys? Oh, Poirier McGregor. It's been agreed upon for the second time. Conor McGregor wants it to happen in Cowboy Stadium.
Yep.
I'm all in.
I didn't. Yep. I saw some headline. Obviously, it might have been something fake. I heard somebody turned down a fight with McGregor, so they wouldn't fight him. I don't know who it was. That's all I saw the headline. I didn't click on it. It might have been something fake too, but
I don't know who would turn down a fight with McGregor when you get paid the money.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all I saw. So
I'll fight him.
I mean, Poirier called it, and then McGregor confirmed it. He said, I think he wants to fight me because he wants to fight a southpaw before he fights Pacquiao. And according to McGregor, that is the case. He wants to fight Dustin, then fight a washed-up Pacquiao because, you got to put that notch in our belt because Pacquiao's washed up now.
So Dustin should come out, fight the whole fight conventional stance. Don't even go southpaw. Throw his whole
Whip
game
his
up.
ass. Or just take him to the ground. That would work too. All right, gentlemen. I don't have anything else. I'm sorry we had to do this over Zoom. Hopefully next week we're either back in house or I could be in the hospital again any day now. So,
yep. Did we want to do 3 stars or skipping that?
Yeah. Let's do 3 stars.
Okay. I guess I can go first. My 3rd star. I don't really have a stat behind this, but I was watching the Tampa Bay Houston baseball game last night, and the Tampa Bay Rays outfielders made six highlight reel catches between Kevin Kiermaier and Hunter Renfroe. They kept showing replays and almost looked like you were watching a season-long highlight reel of these 2 guys, and then you kind of realize they were all from last night's game. So They played absolutely unbelievable defense, and it was fun to watch. So Tampa Bay's outfielders, my third star.
Even Margot the other night, right? Falling into the stands there.
Yeah.
Well, there's two of my stars. The third and second star of the week are those two.
That's fast.
So with Renfroe, because a kid I follow on Twitter, he covers the Braves, but he zoomed in on Renfroe as he was hitting. Dude, the guy looks like Mike Trout. If you zoom in on him, I'll have to see if I can find a picture and send you guys. It's weird how much he like resembles Trout. It's very odd.
Yeah, he does.
Go ahead, Adam.
I guess
my stars are out there.
My third star, I guess I'll call it a star. The Red River Shootout, as Kyle already mentioned. Oklahoma, Texas.
Not because they're my star, but because they fucked me.
Yeah. So I went out and mowed the yard, and I came back in. There was like in the first overtime, and I'm like, "Well, perfect timing here." So it was a hell of a game, and obviously a lot of points scored, and I think that's every week in the Big 12. So
not happy about it. I was getting ready to tweet like Texas under with little money bags, and here we go. Go ahead, Russ.
yeah.
All right. Our bad for stealing your stars here.
No, it's fine.
My second star, I'm going to do Chase Claypool, Steelers rookie wide receiver.
Great
Last
stuff.
week, 7 receptions, 110 yards for 4 touchdowns.
Wow.
So I think it was last week or the week before, somebody had 3 touchdowns. And I said, anytime a position player other than a quarterback has 3 touchdowns, they have to be mentioned. And then he goes out and puts up 4.
So to add to your stat, during my week or daily podcast, Claypool had 7 catches. In his first 4 weeks, he had 6 combined total.
Yeah.
So he had 7 in week 5.
Yeah. Pretty good week.
He was also my second star. So
That's a good star.
He was on
the Pat McAfee show. McAfee's like, "How are those gloves doing?" Looked like the ball was kind of stuck. Are those gloves good?
Yeah, I thought it was crazy that as Kyle just said, he only had 6 catches coming into that game. So,
yeah.
All right, I'll go now. My first star. My first star of the week is Andy Dalton. I'm going to go with Andy Dalton because that was not easy to watch Dak go down. The mood between both teams was very somber. Even Jason Garrett come off the sidelines to check on Dak.
Yeah, I like seeing that.
It was tough to see, but Andy Dalton, I mean, at the end of the day, like the game has to go on. So they get Dak off the field, and it's like, oh, wait, we still have a football game to play. And Andy Dalton came out, and you still got to go out and play. And he led the Cowboys weren't walking away from it. So it was he came in, stepped right in, and he led the Cowboys to a win, which was huge for them in a division that is clearly having issues, and they're probably still going to win the division. I actually texted somebody the other day, and they responded and said the Cowboys still have the best quarterback in that division.
I was gonna say there's worse backups to have than Andy Dalton. So yeah, they're not in a bad spot. I like
Andy
that
Dalton,
one.
first star.
I like it. My first star, we've already mentioned him. I'm going to give Alex Smith the shout out. As we mentioned, he had that horribly broken leg November 18th of 2018. So we're talking almost 2 years. I think that was serious enough that they thought he might actually have to have part of his leg amputated back then. That's how badly this injury was.
And he got staph infection, I think, in it after surgery.
Yeah. Yep. So, like we said, he came in the second quarter. He played the whole second half. Just one of the feel-good stories, seeing him come back after almost 2 years in a devastating injury. So,
and I think it was 17 or 18 surgeries he had on that leg.
Oh, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think most people probably just give up halfway through that process.
He had that halo thing, like, on his leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Nasty.
So my first star is, I'm going to call him the magician, Kevin Adams, for pulling that rabbit Taylor Hall out of his hat and bringing him in for a year.
We waited all night for that.
You did.
I forgot about it, I'm going to be honest.
Me too.
Me too. I sat back in my chair. I came off the edge.
I have not watched it yet, but the Sabres do some sort of an embedded video series, almost like the UFC does, leading up to fights. I haven't watched it yet, but they had some cameras in the room when they were talking to some free agents, kind of showing what that process is like. And I think they had a video with the Taylor Hall call on it. Like I said, I haven't watched it yet, but that'd be interesting to check out. Maybe
it would be.
See some of the behind the scenes of how those conversations go between general managers, coaches, and potential free agents. So,
yeah, that was an interesting call because I think it was the day before, his agent even came out and said he's looking for a place he wants to win. And then obviously everybody was pissed when he chose Buffalo. But
hey, you never know.
All right.
Hey, he didn't say how many games he wanted to win. He won.
What do you got, Statman? You got a star?
I don't have a star this week. I just have a dud.
There it is. People honestly, look forward to your duds.
I'm glad you do, but I feel a little premature on it because I'm the guy that I feel like I'm always saying, it's only week 3. It's only week 4. Now we're here in week 5, and I think Phillip Rivers gets my dud of the week.
I don't hate
We've seen him for 16 years. I mean, he's been a perennially good player, and I think everybody runs out of juice eventually, and the way his stats look, they're just falling. The only thing I guess it didn't. I was going to say the only thing that's falling is his interceptions, but that's not the case after last week. It looked like he wasn't in control of the show at all last week. Just throwing it everywhere, it seemed. And I think maybe he's like a Jordan Spieth, where is he out of juice? This old, being 39 years old,
and he
do you really
money.
give him much time to turn it around before you cut the cord and say, all right, that's enough, old man, go sit down?
So there is Jacoby Brissett is sitting in the backside of that waiting to get in the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We all watched Eli Manning's decline his last 2 or 3 years. He's already 2 years into retirement, and we forget that Phillip Rivers was drafted the same draft as Manning. So he's no spring chicken, and it's not necessarily a surprise that he's on that decline.
I'm wondering, are they going to drag it out as long as it seemed like they drug it out with Eli? It seemed like I would see him playing, and I'm going, why is this guy even on the field anymore? There's so many great options out there. What's going on?
See, it's an interesting scenario, right? Because they just brought him in as a free agent, whereas Manning spent his whole career with the Giants, and I think they were trying to hold on to that nostalgia, but the Colts just brought him in as a free agent, just committed to him. So it's an interesting scenario. That's a good dud.
I like it.
And everybody thought that Rivers was going to put the Colts over the edge and be able to win that division, because that division's kind of up for grabs every year. And
not the way things are going so far.
From what I'm hearing too is from experts, he's got a visibly noticeable lack of zip on his passes to guys like getting to the outside and completing those passes. They say that's actually causing interceptions because he's not getting the ball there quick enough, and defensive backs are breaking on it and snagging it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I haven't watched the Colts yet play this year, but I don't know. We'll see. All right, gentlemen. Well, maybe next week we'll be back in person. We'll play it by ear. I'll keep you guys posted.
Can't wait.